Hey there folks, I'm Dan Brown from Sort of Interesting and you're joining me today for the first in a new series of videos. I'm not sure exactly what the title is, Ask a Boater, Boat Life FAQ, something along those lines. And basically, as you may be aware, I get an awful lot of comments and questions on all these boat videos I do. So I thought there's some things that, even though I try and answer them all in writing in the comments section, that you just can't really sum up and say properly with the written word. So I thought I'll gather up some questions and every 2 weeks, maybe more frequently if it turns out to be popular, I will answer as many questions as I can in a nice little video where it's just quick fire one after the other and hopefully get you a lot of answers. So if you've got anything you want to know, then leave a comment and I'll get back to you. First of all, I'll apologise as well for my sunglasses, as well, you don't want to see my hay fever stricken eyes. But don't worry, we'll grab the camera and stop looking at my ugly mug and enjoy some of the marina scenery. And well, I thought for the first video, the most common thing and the first thing a lot of people ask me is about the general costs of living on board. So let's dive in. So Tilly, as some of you will probably be aware, is a 30-foot narrowboat built in the 1980s. And well, she cost me 11 grand, asking price was 12, but did the usual bit of haggling. And obviously the cost of your boat is going to vary wildly. I mean, you can probably pick up a narrowboat, maybe if it's a very old one and depending on the condition, for between 6 and 10 grand on the bottom end of the scale. But if you're looking for a super boat with all mod cons and a huge one, then well, the sky's the limit. You can pretty much spend as much as you're willing to. So the normal costs that you can't really avoid are going to be, well, two main ones. Your boat licence, which for Tilly is 550 quid for this year, and that's an annual payment. And that's based on a per foot basis. So obviously a bigger boat is going to cost you more. I mean, there's some boats that will cost over £1,000 a year to licence. Your other annual cost that's unavoidable is insurance, and for Tilly it costs just over 100 quid a year. And well, like I say, obviously once again, she's a small boat, she's an old boat, and well, you can imagine how much some of these fancier boats might be more than Tilly to insure. So those are your three things. Obviously buying the boat to start with, then your two real unavoidable costs are boat licence and insurance. Following on from that, one of the sort of, I don't know, semi-frequent costs that a lot of people will have will be mooring costs. Now, a lot of this is based on a per foot basis, so you're talking for Tilly, to moor up down at Chirkbank over the winter, it only cost me 64 quid a month. It's costing me about 170 odd quid for 2 months to stop up here in the marina. But if I was in a bigger boat, well, say if I was in a massive 60-foot boat, then your costs are literally going to be doubled because it is based literally per foot. So that's definitely something that you'll want to consider depending on how you're intending to use your boat, whether you're living on it full time and the world's your oyster, so you can continually cruise all year round. You'll literally not have to pay any mooring fees. Or if you're planning on stopping in one place for a long time, maybe like me for work or something like that, then obviously you've got to make sure you factor those sorts of things in. Now, underneath the deck here I've got about a 150 litre diesel tank, and with the percentage of red diesel for domestic use costs about, maybe call it £1 a litre, but once again that can vary depending on what marina you're at or where you're getting your diesel from. So call that 150 quid to fill the tank. And well, for me, because I haven't got many electronic devices or anything like that I want to charge from the batteries on board the boat, which are just under this side, I don't really have to use the engine much unless I'm actually travelling or over the winter, because the lights are on a lot more frequently. You do tend to have to use the engine more to keep the batteries topped up, otherwise you'll find yourself sitting in the dark sometimes. Amazingly, in 2 weeks' time it will have been exactly 1 year since I filled the diesel tank up, and well, I've still got maybe, I don't know, a few inches of diesel left, just enough to probably see me a few more miles, maybe 20 or so, before I'd want to make sure that I had a good top up. So once again, that's something that's a very variable cost. Can keep your maintenance costs relatively low. I'd say if you put a couple of £100 aside, just in case, because you never know what might go wrong, or if something, I don't know, because obviously everything you've got is moving around with you. I mean, who knows if a pipe in the shower got rattled loose while you were travelling. Just some completely random things like that, for example. Sorry for showing you so much of the deck here. So that's another thing just to be aware of. Just think, you never know what might be around the corner. So just keep an eye on some money to one side for any unexpected costs. The biggest maintenance costs that you'll have is blacking the hull. Now, as you can see here on Tilly, she's looking pretty smart on the black part, and that's because it's only about 4 weeks, maybe a little longer, since she's actually been in and been blacked. So that's the sort of thing that, once again, you could do it yourself. I didn't because, well, heaven forfend I should do some actual physical work. But once again, it costs a per foot basis, and obviously you have the dry dock that you're going into and all the rest of it. And it cost me, I think, about £520 to have her blacked. And that basically now means, hopefully, she's going to keep relatively rust-free below the waterline. And, well, above the waterline, might as well keep it all rust-free. And that, depending on who you speak to, should last you anywhere between 1 and 4 years. I think I'm going to have her out of the water and blacked every 2 years, so that seems the popular choice. But I mean, there's some people who I've spoken to who don't have anodes, or in fact, black a boat for 5 years in a row. I don't think I would want to risk that, especially not on good old Tilly here, who's at least as old as me to begin with. So once again, that's the sort of thing that could be costing you over £1,000 if you've got a nice big boat. Once again, like I say, that's the benefit of having such a small boat as Tilly. When it comes to your utilities, that's another area that can vary just incredibly wildly. I mean, for example, the cooker here, I have 2 little gas bottles which last for months and months on end. And when I do have to replace one, it costs about £25 a time. And obviously over the summer and over the sort of warmer weather, I use the cooker for cooking, as you would imagine. But if we move across here, my apologies for what a tip it is. I'm currently in the process of redoing the chimney, so please don't judge me too harshly on that. But this little fire here, I use, obviously, if it's the winter, it'll be going anyway. This ring comes out, this outer ring comes out, and you literally can drop a pan or a kettle or anything on there. So over the winter time, I can literally just, well, like I say, the fire's going, whatever I've got to cook. I mean, you would be very surprised at what can actually be done on that. I certainly was. And I mean, sometimes I literally go for a week, 2 weeks, without actually putting anything on the cooker properly. And well, it's just another thing that over the winter, obviously, if I'm doing that, I'm not using any gas whatsoever. Obviously, hot water and things like that, you can literally, well, over the winter when this is going, you can pour water on this and it'll boil on impact. So you don't even really need the boiler on to get your hot water, because it's, well, far more effective and efficient to just stick a pan on there. So that's all your washing up and stuff done, as well as the cooking that you've dirtied your pots and pans with. So that's another double whammy. Something like the water is going to be free. I mean, there's places along the canal where you can just attach your hose pipe and fill up till your heart's content. So that's another thing that you don't have to worry about. What else could there be in the general utility of a house? I don't know, electricity, like I say, some people have generators, some people just have stuff run straight off the engine and charge the batteries. Like I say, like my lights and water pump, fridge, all things like that are powered from the battery that's charged by the engine running. And, well, if you're doing a lot of travelling, then obviously while your engine's running, your batteries are topped up, so that's 2 birds with 1 stone. And, well, once again, I suppose, it's just basically a lot of varying costs where I can't give you a straight answer of if you live on a boat, this is how much you're going to spend on this, that or the other. But at the very least, I hope you've got a general idea from this at the sort of things that you've got to consider. And like I say, it's stuff like really your boat licence and insurance you've got to have, marina fees, winter mooring fees, depending on the sort of boating that you're intending to do. Once again, you might never stop moving for more than a week in a go, so you won't have to worry about that. Or if you're like me and like to just have a nice sort of lazy time over the bitter cold and wet winter months, then, I mean, like I say, 30-foot boat cost me 65 quid, £64.47 I think it was, to moor up over the winter. That's obviously per month, it's not that cheap. And well, I suppose, once again, thank you all very much for watching. I hope that you don't mind me plugging my book all the time. Make sure you check out The Narrowboat Lad on Amazon. I've got to thank you all once again, because I really cannot believe now that it's still selling, and well, it keeps jumping up to the #1 spot in the UK travel category. So I can't thank you enough for that. As usual, like the Facebook page, just follow me on Twitter and Facebook and all the rest of it. Feel free to add me on my personal account. I wake up every day now to friends requests, so thank you all very much for being a part of this. And well, till next time, have a great day. I'll see you around soon. Farewell.